But the one-handed concertina player.
Well, I'm getting like that now because I play. Well, who's it used to do that? You know?
Yeah, Dave Brady.
Yeah, Brady. Yeah, did. Yeah. I saw, which nearly broke my heart, a tramp lie dying in the park. I knelt beside him to hear him speak, and the words he spoke were very weak. He told me a story of long since past, of a gallant ship with tall grey masts, of his captain's cap with his shiny braid, and the wonderful voyages that they made. Silent Annie was the great ship's name, like a token of love he spoke her name. She'd sailed round the Horn more than once, and she'd cut through those waves like a sharpened lance. Ah, believe me, he said, his eyes filled with tears, like a drunk on the corner remembering his years. He reached out his hand and I took it in mine. I believe you, I said, and he gave a sad smile, and then came the day when they towed her away. Her sides were all sour from the sea-angered spray. They said she's unfit to sail out once more, so they towed her to windward all round sandy shore. As they broke up Silent Annie, he watched with a sigh. He remembered her beauty when he was a boy. She was his one love, his life's only dream, when they sailed out together as captain and queen. It had started to rain, and he held my hand tight, and he squeezed even harder as he entered the fight. The people they gathered and watched with dismay as the ambulance man came and took his body away. Fury's Lonesome Boatman.
Things. I mean, just talking about the Irish association. I mean, I think I first saw you in the Regent in Leeds.
You probably did, yeah.
You know, I mean that was.
I played with the Cayley band there.
Yes, yeah. I know.
John
Ferguson
and Maureen.
Yeah.
They moved to Ireland. The Regent's gone now.
Oh, I know. I've got to say that I have done like a kind of a recce around all of the old horns that I had.
There's the Spotted, what's it, just a bit further up. Oh, Spotted something. That's still there.
Yeah.
But you know, Eddie Bolger's died.
Yeah.
Joe Mullins died. Paddy there, who's the whistle player there.
Oh yes.
He's died. You know, they've all gone. Ireland Orsep's died. Mick Waterson's died.
Yeah.
Lou Killen's died.
Yeah. But what we've got is like the memories, and I suppose that's partially what why I'm doing these. I mean, these have kind of snowballed out of all proportion. It was just meant to be like an interview with me, and then I just thought I love doing this and finding out people's memories. But I mean, recently that the Bridge Hotel in Newcastle.
Yeah.
You know, it was really great to sort of talk about these people that, you know, at the times that were.
We did a couple of bookings up there with the Cropper Lads.
With the Cropper Lads. Well, tell us about the Cropper Lads, because this was the stuff of legend when I first arrived in Leeds in '72.
The Cropper Lads were. It started off when in the 50s actually. I was working with my dad in Ollerton, and a guy, I can't remember who it was now, took me down to the folk club, the Topic.
Oh yes.
Which of course is the oldest folk club in the world.
That's what they say.
And he took me down there, and that's when I started. And I listened and I enjoyed the music, because prior to that I did a lot of rock climbing. And at night in the pub, of course, we sang a lot, and we used to take the tunes of the day and put our words to them.
All right.
Yeah, like the Streets of Laredo, you know. As I was a-climbing the steep slopes of Clogwyn, the steep slope of Clogwyn was climbing one day, when I met a young fellow all clothed in white linen, as cold as the clay. He said, "You're a climber, I know by your outfit." He said, "You're a climber, and so once was I. Oh, tarry a while and listen to my story, for I fell off the bow and I'm dying today." So that we did that.
Yeah.
We did that on quite a few tunes.
There was quite a big association, wasn't there, with like the outdoors and folk singing?
Yes.
At that time.
Yeah, like you know the one about walking in the hills in Lancashire.
I'm a rambler. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then, as I say, I went down to the Topic, and I got started there. And
had you had any experience of folk music before?
no, only that associated with climbing.
Oh right,
With
okay.
rock climbing, yeah. But you see, they were so close together.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard it, I thought that's what we've been singing.
Yes.
You know, that's that, not quite, but similar. And so that's what got me going. And then I met Rennie Pickles there, and he used to play a big blonde double bass in them days.
I was sweating a little bit there. He used to play a big blonde.
Yeah, a big blonde double bass, the white ones. You know.
Right.
And then we started going then to the Grove, and there of course I met Bob Spray, and so there was Rennie Pickles and Bob Spray and I, and we thought, we got matey, and we said, oh, we'll try singing together. So we did, and we sung as the Cropper Lads. And we had a few people that joined us. We had Alan Robinson, who's had a beautiful high tenor voice, and then we had Pete Ogley, who's now at Keighley.
Yes.
He sings at the Topic, at the back of pipes. And we had Gus Grenfell joined us, and so we went on, and we got we got a booking at Cecil Sharp House. So there you go.
All the way down to that London.
All the way to London, but Cecil Sharp House.
Of course.
Wow.
Yes.
So I'll tell you about that actually. Gus was the sort of guy who did it. We went, what do they call that street where all the fashion was in them days?
Carnaby Street.
Carnaby. Went down Carnaby Street.
Okay.
And he bought himself a grenadier's coat.
Yes.
So anyway, we had a few bevies, of course, before we went in. And we were booked to play at a Cayley in the interval, you see, to sing.
Oh yeah, yes.
When I got there, I looked. The stage was filled with musicians. There was 5 piano accordions across the front. It was a huge, like a folk orchestra it was.
Yes.
And as soon as we went in, you didn't sense it, you could bloody feel it. The antagonism toward these 4 oiks from the north who have come down to sing.
Okay.
And it was quite
Palpable.
powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
And Gus had 1 or 2 as well, and we had a pint in the hand.
Yeah.
The stage was about like that.
Yes.
And so Gus stepped up, missed all over the leader of the orchestra.
Great.
So from feeling it,
Yeah.
you could damn well hear it then. You know. But we were determined. It took us ages. It must have taken us nearly half an hour to get. We got them in the end.
Yes.
We got them, and in the end, they cheered us off.
Yes.
Which was pretty good going. Yeah. So
Do you think that there was? I mean, it's been mentioned before. There was a kind of a north-south almost, like in the purist days, that people would be like antagonistic to people from outside of London.
Well, to a certain extent, I think that still happens today. My daughter lives down in East Sussex, but she's lived in Cornwall, and and she lived in London, in Peckham Rye, and worked in London, and she loves it. But I don't like going down to see him down there. She's got the two neighbours, one on each side, which are lovely people. And I went down to spend Christmas with her this time. But still, about the area, something, it just didn't settle. It doesn't just settle on you like it does coming up home.
Oh, right,
Now, whether it's because I'm used to Yorkshire,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I think that's probably like you're used to, you know, Northumberland.
Yeah.
And or is it Durham you come from?
Well, it's South Shields, so
South
it's
Shields.
a law unto itself. Lovely.
I used to play it a lot into that one.
Yeah. And then you go. There's one thing I'd like to go back to. This idea of putting your own words to tunes of the day
Yeah.
wasn't seen as like being a traitor to traditional music. It was just something that people did, didn't it, at
It
that
had nothing
time?
to do with traditional music at all,
Yeah.
really. Apart from the fact that when you'd done a day's rock climbing and you were in the bar, somebody would start singing something. It might not be
Yeah.
an adapted song, but then as we came round, some people started putting words to it,
Yes.
and words to tunes, and we started singing them.
See, I was really into the Scouts, and we would go away, and one of the tasks would be to write a song about an explorer using a folk tune.
Yeah.
You know, so we used the Wild Colonial Boy and sang about Scott.
Yeah.
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 It didn't have a happy ending though.
No.
But the
You know, I think that's a lovely song.
Oh, yes.
A wild colonial boy.
It is.
Donahue by name. Yeah.
but it is a great thing that, I mean, these tunes. Unfortunately, it's things like, I mean, the tune for the Wild Rover is a great tune.
Yes.
It's just that, and the Wild Colonial Boy and the Black Velvet Band and all these are great tunes. I just think that people don't listen to them anymore.
Well, they don't, but I started about it. I haven't done any since my wife died, but prior to that, 2 years before, I took these tunes and I announced them as such. These are songs we used to sing, and you'd very rarely hear them. And it was went down like a bomb. They loved them. Yes,
Yes.
they did. Yeah.
Yes, there's almost a relief.
Yeah.
It's like a guilty pleasure almost. You know,
Yeah.
you did sing something. That's
What tunes did you just mention then?
the Black Velvet Band or
Wild
Wild Rover. Yeah.
Now, you'd go to any folk club in England, and what was the last song that was sung? The Wild Rover.
Yes.
Now that's gone now. You very rarely hear it now.
Well, yes, perhaps in a folk club, but you know, there's this thing of like open mics where people can sing just about anything, really.
Yes, and you've got to really like it, haven't you, to go and sit through it.
Oh, I don't know. I've like reinvested my skills by going to open mic.
Well, I say you've got to really like it, because I go and honestly, I have about an hour. I'm ready for home.
Is this at an open mic or a folk
Yeah,
club?
open mics.
All
yeah.
right, okay.
Yeah, it's mostly Americanised. You know, the very rarely do you hear a traditional song sung. And as for a ballad, I think they'd throw you out if you sang a 20-verse ballad.
Yeah, well, I've been to about 150, 180 in the last year, and I would say it's like anything. That there's exceptional ones, and there's ones where you might have to sort of like kind of wince a couple of times, but it's a great platform now. You know.
Well, I'm not against it.
Oh yes, I know you're not.
It gives everybody a chance.
Yes.
Some of these younger people,
Yes.
they wouldn't thank you to listen to the Flying Cloud, which I do occasionally. I got that from old Luke Killen. and it's about 19 verses
Mm-hmm.
or something, and then the Sussex Miracle,
Mm.
you know that one?
Oh yes.
Or of it.
Yeah.
That's about 20 odd verses.
Yes.
And occasionally I put the back of pipes through the mill and I sing one of these in it. Yeah.
What have
And
they,
in fact,
what have they ever done to you?
We actually count the verses.
Yeah, yeah.
They say, Jim, did you say that was? Did you say that was 14 verses? I says, yeah. It's not. It's 19 verses.
Yeah.
We actually counted them on.
All right.
On my paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, sometimes there are songs which it's like the storytelling tradition. You know that a long song is just like a big story, but it's got a tune to it.
Yeah.
And if it is written in 19 verses, that's like 4 lines in a stanza.
Yeah.
It's going to be less than like an hour-long story.
Yeah.
But people had no other distractions at that time, perhaps,
No, that's
which
true.
is the thing.
Did you like the way that I put my speaking in?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Because well, Ed Pickford did something very similar just the other day, which was an interpretation of Juno and the Paycock.
Yeah.
The Shorty
Yeah.
Casey play.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful. It's so powerful. The human voice. It doesn't have to have like other instruments, and it's the sentiment that comes across.
Oh no,
You
sometimes
know,
to sing a cappella is well, that was the way the tradition came from.
Well,
They
yeah,
didn't have a little spot I do sometimes is mouth music.
yes,
I don't do it very well, but I tell the people that in the days of the depopulation of the Highlands and places, they didn't have money to go out and buy an accordion or a banjo or a thing. They just sang to mouth music.
Mhm.
Oh,
That's it.
skittery out, yeah, don't diddly out. I said, and I tell them, and if that's just a little bit, and
Yes.
I'm not, but if you hear an expert, they dance to it.
That's well, they had nothing
Yeah.
else. Yes,
Yeah.
but that's the idea that Céilís weren't necessarily of hundreds of people. I mean, the Scottish Céilís really means it's like a singing and a dancing
Yeah.
kind of thing. But
Yeah.
but I've got to say, like I did smile when you said like it came from like the rock climbing, because I was so impressed. A friend of mine, Clive Morton, would just be like walking on the hills. I never really did rock climbing,
No,
but I
no.
did like a lot of walking. And we stayed in the shepherd's hut on the side of like Crossfell, and he would like put his pack down outside, take his boots off, walk over, put his arm on the mantelpiece, and
Yeah.
suddenly burst into song.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, this is great,
Yeah.
because I'm post skiffle, early rock and roll. Everybody had a guitar or a teacher's
Yeah.
bass,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so when you were talking about the blonde double bass,
Yeah.
you know that must have been like a leftover.
I
of-
haven't seen one since.
No.
And then of course there's the tea chest basses
Yes.
as well. That was a tea chest
Yeah.
with a broomstick and a sting.
And a string on it, yeah.
Yeah, and it worked. Yeah.
Oh, of course it worked.
Yes, yes.
Of course it worked. It's a bit like Mark Commode said, like he'd never played an instrument in his life, but he was in a rockabilly band,
Yes.
and he was given a double bass.
Yeah.
So what he did was he concentrated on the slap,
That's
you know,
right. Yeah.
like that, rather than the note,
Yeah.
and nobody noticed he wasn't playing in the same key.
No, no,
You know.
no, they wouldn't.
So at the time you were going around as the Cropper lads,
yeah,
I mean, apart from going
that
to,
was
to-
early 60s.
yeah, apart from going to like Cecil Sharp House, which has broadened its horizons, you know,
Yeah.
as folk music has.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, where there are a lot of clubs, I remember coming down in '72, and there's at least 6 folk clubs I can think of in
Yeah.
Leeds.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Grove,
Yeah.
and you mentioned the sort of like the Topic.
Yeah.
So
Topic with Bradford.
yeah.
Never.
But in the Leeds area.
But you know now folk clubs are disappearing
Mm.
because the pubs are not making it. Unless you're a gastro pub,
Mm.
the region was packed with Irish lads.
Oh yes.
Every night nearly. It's
Mm.
gone, knocked down.
Mhm.
It wasn't doing enough for them. You know, and there's lots. I mean, we
Yeah.
all turned up for the Topic at the
Stall?
Red Bull, is it? The Red Bull. Anyway, we all got there. We stood outside when I got, what's that? This pub's closed.
Yes.
Didn't tell anyone. They just closed it down, and we were on. And all the pubs have gone. The Shoulder of Mutton on the way up to Cleckheaton, that's gone.
Oh yes.
There's tons and tons of pubs that are gone.
Mm.
The Grove was very, very much like that a few years ago, but then they opened a big what's it centre.
Oh yes, well, like a big shopping mall and the Tutley Wharf.
No, offices. Call centre.
Oh yes.
And of course then you can't park anyway, you can't park within half a mile of the Grove.
Right.
No, it's a terrible place to get to.
You can still get in though.
Yeah, oh, you can still get in, of course you can. But well, yes, but you see, but then they came, and of course they do a lovely trade throughout the day, nothing to do with folk music.
Yes.
So of course we're still there, and it's a lovely room.
It is a lovely
And
room.
we've been there for 40 odd, nearly 50 years.
Yes.
And
Well, I was there in, I think it was about April of last year, and
Yeah.
it was still a lovely
you
pub.
see the pictures on the wall of
I
the,
did.
what do they call the guy who run it years ago, started it,
Um,
the old fella.
it'll come to me. Yeah.
So I'm a bit like that.
Yeah,
with
Pete
it.
Woods?
Pardon?
Pete Woods?
No.
No.
Jeff Woods.
Jeff Woods.
That's
yeah,
right. Jeff Woods. There's one Jeff Woods, and he has a brass plaque, you know.
Yes.
Did you see it?
I did see it.
Yeah,
Yes.
on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was good.
I used to go. Well, in fact, I emceed it for many years, but it's.
Well, I ran it. I think, it's like one of these things that everybody's had to take the reins because like nobody was going to keep it going.
Yeah.
So I ran it for about 8-9 months,
Yeah.
about 88, and then I moved away from Leeds. So,
Yeah.
so I think as well. I mean, it's a lot of work to run a folk club.
Oh, there's no doubt of it.
It doesn't just happen. And
How Jenny, mind you, she's got a good team behind her, Jenny, but how she's run it for 50 years, I don't know. She does it.
there's
very
certain
well.
determination.
But Jewel, you know Jewel.
Yes.
Well, he's her mainstay, I think.
Yes.
And then there's Jim Ellison, who's the editor of the Tax News, and his lovely wife, and they're sort of very close together. It's the finest folk club in the North of England, without any doubt at all. Yeah.
Well, we are going to go tonight, so it's the first time I'll have been
We
in
are indeed.
22 years.
She knows you.
Oh yes, and I know her.
She said she was going to book you a couple of times. I don't know why she didn't.
Well, the first time was because I went to Belgium.
Oh yes.
So she offered me a booking, and I said I can't go because I'm
Yeah.
going to Belgium. Now the idea was I was going to go to Belgium for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
but I wound up staying there and in Holland and Germany for the best part of 3 years.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
which time
You'd forgotten.
No. By which time I'd become forgotten on the English folk scene.
Yeah,
I was just
yeah.
like kind of starting, and then
Oh yes.
yeah. But I toured extensively throughout Europe. So
Well, I must admit that the best time I had in the folk music for being popular was with the Cropper lads.
yes,
We went. Well, I used to shut the shop at 6 o'clock on Saturday.
tell me about the shop that you had.
It was an outdoor shop
Yes.
in Godwin Street in Bradford, and that's when I started there. And the lads had come because I only had the only car and I was the only driver.
So you're in the band.
Whitehaven,
Yeah.
Saturday night,
Wow.
up to Whitehaven. What a trail!
Oh, I know.
And I've had two good experiences at Whitehaven. Anyway, then in coming back, we'd get back here at 4 in the morning, you know. Oh, it was bad. So Rennie said, I said, they want to book us again, Rennie. He said, oh Lord, he said. I said, well, what do I do? He says, tell them we can't do it. Well, he said, I've tried that, but they give me another load of dates, you know,
Yeah.
pick out of them, you know. So he said, well, I don't know. I said, anyway, he said, well, put the money up. I think them days we're getting about 60 quid.
Wow.
So it was
Yeah.
good. So I said, okay. So I thought I'd be outright outrageous. So I said, well, we can come, but it'll cost you a bit more this time. That's all right. I said, how much? I said, 120. Oh, that's fine, you get up. Rennie said, hell, what have we got to do to get out of doing this gig in the wilds? And anyway, you know, Bob Spray was always a little bit...
rambunctious.
Yes, short-tempered.
Yes.
And what he used to do was, particularly, if anyone was talking when he was performing, he'd come off the stage, still singing, right up to the face with the guitar. Well, it was in Whitehaven, and the Fiji had a rugby side over, and we'd had a drink or two with him in the bar, talking to the lads there, because I played rugby then. And
I love the way you just throw this in.
Well,
are you going to mention that you were a wrestler as well?
well, I was actually, and I also did karate for quite a few years. However, this fellow he'd had a few. He was talking to him. Off goes Bob to him with his guitar, and he stood up. I thought he was never going to stop standing up. He was bloody huge. He was huge. And I thought, this is it, I've met your match here now, haven't you? Well, suddenly two big black fellas came in from the bar, picked this fella up and just waltzed him straight outside.
All right, so
two of the rugby players that we'd been talking to, they'd been stood in the doorway, they knew what was going to happen, so they just whipped him out, so it was very good,
So, but did you tour as the Cropper Lads, or was it like trying to fit it in within the work that you had?
Well, within the work I had. I mean, Bob worked in his father's shop. I think Gus Grenfell was a teacher. Rennie did very little in the way of work. I got him a job in Bradford, and it didn't stay very long. But we didn't tour.
No.
We just took each booking as it came in. So you see.
Each time was like a one-off.
Yeah.
So where was the furthest north you went? I mean, it's hard enough when you're going up like the Cockermouth area from the Shield.
Probably Kinross, or what's the one? Where did they have it before Kinross? The festival.
I don't know. I only ever knew it in Kinross.
Something trees or something. However,
yeah.
Yes, well, do you remember getting locked in the cellar of the pub?
Yes, we're getting into Tiger Country here. Oh, have you got a photograph?
No. But I have that.
Right.
Which you gave me.
All right. Did I borrow it?
Purloined from the cellar of the pub.
All right. Okay. Can I just state that this was about 1974, so I claim amnesty. Yes, we did go up to Kinross. Well, okay then. If we're talking about Kinross, thanks very much for that.
Well, I've had it all these years.
Yeah. What happened was, we got up to Kinross, and almost as soon as we arrived there, like the whiskey started flowing, because everybody knew you.
Yeah.
And so so we had like a free pass straight away. Oh, you know Jim, all right, great, come in.
Yeah.
And then the whiskey started flowing, and then we went into the pub, and somebody said it's Tony Wilson.
Yeah.
And they thought I was the Tony Wilson from Manchester.
Yeah.
Who was big in folk, because I mean I think he had a column.
Yeah.
And he was promoting like a few little folk concerts in and around Manchester.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely blathered. Like I looked at this and looked at the mixing desk, went, that'll do, and then staggered away. And then instead of walking out the door, I walked out the window.
Yes.
Yeah, and around the window they had like a metal balcony which had steps that went down into the cellar.
That's it.
And I was so drunk that when I was in the cellar,
fell asleep, I think.
I fell asleep and couldn't get out.
No.
It's like trying to find the wall. Where am I?
I bet they were surprised to see in the morning coming up out of the cellar.
Well, somehow when I woke up, I kind of got out and found that thing in my pocket and gave it to you out of the goodness of my heart.
But do you also remember Tom, your mate?
I do, Tom McConville, yeah.
And you remember he was the, as far as I can remember it, I might just be a bit wrong.
This might vary from Tom's recalling of the story.
It was what's it? what they call a Scotch singer, big Scotch singer. It was his cup. Walter. Oh God, it was his cup. The Walter Scott, was it Wally Scott? Walter Scott Cup. Anyway, we went in, and one of the lads that we knew had won it.
Yeah.
And we went into the pub, and we found it just held one bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
So it went round in that. When it was emptied, then we filled it. The next man filled it up. I don't know how many pints it took round. There was quite a few was there then. And Tom got absolutely
Glutted. Yeah.
And they just built a new block of toilets in Kinross, and it disappeared in there. Now I exaggerate slightly, but we had to go from time to time and knock on the door, and it was he's alive, it's okay.
Oh, right.
And I believe he was there till next morning. I'm not sure exactly how long. I usually say 2 days.
Yes.
But I'm sorry, Tom, if it wasn't 2 days. But it was about 2 days.
Okay, well, the way I remember it is this. We had a car, I think it was an Austin A35, that would come up in, and Tom had gone off and he'd gone to sleep in the back of the car, and we three came back and we couldn't all get in, so he was so drunk that we picked him up and laid him down on the ground with like bricks for his pillow, and threw, maybe, if and this is like self-aggrandizement, we threw a blanket over him, and he woke up with us three sleeping in the car and thinking, how did this happen? And like the imprint of, like an engineering
stone
on his face. So
one of the stories must be true. What about
wait. Okay, so you were known for having like this huge camping store. Like this is when you were in Barnsley. And the best of tents and selling everybody sort of like stuff and all the rest of it. We got there and were so drunk, and you had the tent, and you basically opened it and threw it. You threw it into a ditch. And I'm thinking, like, this is the entrepreneur who's got like a camping store. So me and you slept in a ditch inside a tent. I mean,
we just pulled the tent over.
Yeah, that's just pulled it over us, and it was frosty.
That's
like
right.
the next morning. This is way before like bivvy bags. And all the rest of it.
Well, but
people were looking at you and going, so you've been selling me a tent that costs this much, and you sleep in a ditch like this.
We just lay down and wrapped ourselves in it. Well, that was the morning I got up and went for the I went for the wee up this and other thing up this. There's some big iron gates up that and the track, and I went up and had a pee behind a bush, and then I came out. I was only in my underpants, and I came out and come.
He was in his underpants a lot.
And walking up the track with these nuns, you see.
Right.
I thought, oh God, so I said, morning sisters, as though I was training, you see. I couldn't think of anything else to do.
Well, you see, what happened was you saved us from a fate worse than excommunication, because there was, this again, I think it was like sleeping in a car or something like that, and we were having a competition to see who could pee the highest up the wall. So while you were distracting them up there, we were sort of like painting the letter I on the side of the building. Another time when sort of like the king of the camping stores took us down, because we slept on a beach beside Dingle one time.
We did.
And we just drove, and the roads got narrower and narrower, and the hedgerows got like closer and closer, and we thought, well, we'll go down here, we're bound to find somewhere to pitch our tent. And we wound up on a beach.
Yes, we did.
Because like the privet and was like hanging over, and it sort of like opened up, and there was the Atlantic Ocean. Because we went to Ireland as well. I mean, we had some rare times in Ireland.
We certainly did. Yes, I wish I could remember more of them actually. I remember going to, as I mentioned the other day, going to this party we were invited to in a barn, and there was a big fire in the middle of the floor. No fireplace, just a big fire. And I was busy chatting to this young lady, who was very nice and very obliging. And so we went. The fire died down, so these lads, they were well away. They just got hold of the chairs and tables and just threw them onto this fire.
Yeah, of course. What use is furniture if it's not firewood?
And what about the time when of the
This is my kind of conversation.
yeah, what time about the whiskey? What do they call this whiskey they make themselves?
Oh, the Pachin.
The poachine. And they sent me and they said, away
Well,
you go.
that was at the stall. Or if it wasn't at the stall, the flour. If it wasn't in the stall, it was on the way there because we had to drive over and was stopped.
I thought it was in Melton.
Yeah, yes,
Melton
you are right. Yes.
And anyway, he said to me this Irishman, go take them. He said, Seamus. He said, they'll be all right. They'll know you're not an Irishman. He said, but get the good stuff, the matured stuff.
Yeah.
So up I went with these 2 bottles. And I said, I've been told to get the matured stuff. Oh, you're right. He said, well, that's this one. That's non-matured. So he turned the tap and it just rushed out. You see, he said, it just gets to the bowl quick. Turned it off and it dripped. He said, that's the matured, you see. It's maturing as it drips slowly down. Next morning, we had a look, when you woke up, he said, what's all this? Your holes all burnt in your coat.
Yeah.
And it was the damn thing you'd chucked glass filled over yourself.
I'd spilled some on me. It was like a canvas jacket with butterfly collars,
That's
which were
right, yeah.
very de rigueur in 73, 74.
Yeah.
And it burnt a hole.
Yeah, burnt a hole in it, yeah.
Well, at first it discoloured it, and I thought that was bad enough.
Yeah.
And then it just like kind of rotted away.
Yeah.
But what I remember of that was, like, I'd had enough to drink anyway, and you came back with these 2 pint, like milk bottles full of the stuff, and everybody's laying into it, and then somebody puts them in a small glass and set fire to it, and it burnt with that kind of flickering methylated spirits, kind of like light.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't like the look of that, and I tasted like barely a drop.
Yeah.
And it was like it set me body on fire, and you're all swigging it down going, like this.
Yeah.
And Bernard, who we were with, because we were camping, and it was Milton Mulby, and it was he woke up and he was inside his sleeping bag, but with his head in the sleeping bag and his legs outside of the tent.
Yeah.
We managed the tent that time.
Was that Bernard David?
Bernard David.
Did you have Josie with him that trip?
I've got a feeling. I've got a feeling he did.
Right, I've got a picture of him there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I'll do is I'll take some photographs
please do.
of your photographs, and I'll sort of intertwine them in your talk.
Yeah.
But and there was just this kind of like squealing, help, I'm trapped, I can't get out. And we just thought this was the funniest thing we'd ever seen.
But I remember us going on one trip, and for some reason or other, you lot had decided to wear clogs.
This was the Rose of Tralee Festival.
That's right.
And we, as Geordies from Leeds, and I can't remember where Neil was from, we were representing. We were representing Leeds Irish Centre.
Needless to say, you didn't win.
No.
There's the clogs that did it, or what?
Right. Well, okay. This can be told 45 years on.
Certainly.
I mean, we were playing things like Princess Royal and Lily Bolero.
Yes.
But I mean, we were used to playing Irish tunes.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've got to say, Lily Bolero doesn't really translate to the banjo.
No, it didn't translate to being Irish either.
No.
But
this was the thing. I mean, we were somehow chosen. We were burnt peat.
Yes.
Yeah, because it had been Bernard and Pete. So what they did was the names had been misheard, so it was called Burnt Pete. Yeah, it was a great name, fantastic name. And we had T-shirts.
You did.
T-shirts where we'd cut out in cardboard the word Burnt Pete.
Yeah.
Like that, but it looked like a sausage.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were playing Baran with us.
I was.
Yeah,
That's
you know.
it there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Baran.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll take that as said.
I bought that at Doonham Point
Yeah.
from an old guy. I said, "You want to sell it?" He said, "Oh, what will you give me for it?" I said, "I'll give you 20 quid for it." He took me 20 quid and ran.
Yeah.
Yes, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
It's a beauty.
Oh yes.
Still use it occasionally, time to
Well,
time.
were we in? Anyway, I'll come to the. We'll come back to the Doolan story, but what happened was that Burn Pete, they were looking at him, the Irish people were all saying, like, "Burn tough," like this. And we had a PA system with her. And what happened was there was another band from Northern Ireland, Cats Whiskers I think they were called, like a rock band.
Yeah.
So there was quite a variety of music, and Big Tom and the Mainliners, that really was their name. Like the show band were going to be finishing the whole thing off. So what happened was, and you know, there was a big meeting, and there were everybody, the committee was standing around, and all the bands were there as well. And somebody said, "What is an acoustic guitar, and why do they have to have a PA system if they've got electric guitars?" So what happened was, all the bands that had a PA system would go to different venues in and around Tralee and play, and the people who didn't have a PA system relied on the people who did have a PA system. So the people who had a PA system remained in the competition because the people who didn't have a PA system would go on. So we got fairly far on until they had the requisite number of PA systems so that they could continue on. We got like the quarterfinals, but then by which time, you know, like the other people were, and we were sort of like left, you know. So, but I mean, we'd been a couple of times to Ireland with you. I mean, you were incredibly generous. I mean, you would hire the car and you would pay for that, and we'd all go round.
That's why I didn't succeed in business, I think.
Well, I never forgot it.
Generous, I
very generous. You know,
myself
you would buy rounds of drinks, and then, you know, we would like busk, and we would make sure. Well, I would make sure that you got like a drink, you know, at least back.
Yeah.
But it's something I've always stood by.
There were good days. There were good days.
Yeah.
Right. What am I looking at? All right. Yes.
But the dueling thing was, there was also another Baran. I don't know if you remember it. It was about the size of a bass drum.
No.
You do not remember it?
No.
I don't know how you can forget it. Because you could, like the body of it stretched the length of your arm.
Yeah.
And you were knocking it like nobody. You were in seventh heaven.
Oh, I can't remember playing that.
Oh, right.
No.
Oh yeah, it was massive. I've never seen one like it or since.
I remember playing that one, and I used to play it close up and I play it like that. And Dave Bulmer said, that young blonde lady there, Jim, was sat at, well, we're on some steps, on some stairs, going upstairs somewhere. I said, I said, Bonnie, he said, "You don't fancy you." I said, "Does she?"
Yeah.
He says, "Aye." I said, well, she's gone because she got fed up listening to you trying to eat that baron. Aye.
Well, they had a Fender tenor banjo on the wall.
Yeah.
And we were trying to think of all different ways of stealing it, because it was 10 times better than the banjo I had.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that was the place where the guards came. Do you remember? The place was absolutely heaving.
Well, you remember Dingle, don't you?
Oh yes. Yeah.
We got thrown out of Dingle, didn't we, that pub? Yeah.
But the guards kept coming to me saying, "Tell them to leave, because they've got to close."
Yeah.
What can I possibly do to tell them?
To a pub full of drunken Irishmen. Yeah.
So I remember standing at the back going, "The guards tell us we've got to go." like that. But then, I mean, there's a whole, you know, I mean, we went to all these festivals, and it was such a electric time, really.
It was for us, yes,
Yeah.
it was. I just wonder if the kids have such a good time. Although the festivals are still on, the flowers are still on, the fishes are still on. They should have such a good, still have a good time, I should think.
We had a fabulous time. You know,
Well,
I
I went down to, I can't remember the name of the place now. It's on the banks of the Shannon. And a lady there runs a concertina week. She's Crocky to the call, something like that, I can't remember. And I went down there. And I'd never go again. And I came out, I only lasted 3 days. I thought, I can't deal with this. There were kids like that, 8 years old, 9 years, just playing me off the stage. The concertinas.
Yeah.
They were fantastic.
But when you play the slow airs, I mean, I remember when you used to play like faster tunes. But
Yeah. Yes, I did, but nevertheless, there still were, you know, I mean, that lady up there top right hand corner, Mary McManara. She came, she said, well, we used to go up to the weekend squeeze up in the Dales, you know. Have you been there?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's great. So it's only Constantina's.
All right.
And she was booked to do the instruction and that sort of thing. She's a lovely lass. And I learned quite a couple of tunes from her. But I don't play them now, and I've forgotten how to do them sort of tunes now. Because I can't. Really.
Yeah. But you're still singing, which is a great thing.
I'm still singing, but my voice is not as good as it was by a long way. And I can't play because my hands are not as good. And I need my glasses on, my reading glasses, because my eye, I've only got one eye, you know.
Yeah.
So there's that one's bucket, and this is, excuse the language, and this one's, that's what, but it's compensated. One lady said to me, how do you, and I said, well, if I hold my finger like that, and I said, all the testing is for your field of vision. Hold my finger like that and go out like that, I can still see it, I can still see it, I can still see it. That's good. So I said, I'll put this finger up and I'll do it with my other eye, you see. I can still see it, I can still see it, I can still see it, I can still see it. Still see it. I'm not seeing it with this eye, I'm seeing it with this eye.
Yeah.
Both ways.
Yeah.
Because I've just got my licence renewed for another 3 years.
Fantastic.
You see, so, yeah.
But you've met, I mean, you've met so many people in the time that you've played, and
I mean, yeah, but you see, but that's where your memory comes into it. People come and say, Jim, how are you? I've seen you for years. I think, oh, bloody hell.
It's not just you. I think it's everybody is like that.
Yeah, well, you know, you've seen so many people like we have.
Yes.
In the whole of the folk world in England. You'd be all on to remember them all anyway, wouldn't it? Even if you had a good memory.
Yeah, but I do think that, you know, it's not that you don't care, and it's not that you don't remember them. It's just that the name, it's like, falls out the side.
Well, we were up at Alan and I were up at England Festival, and she came up to me and she said, "That fella's just been playing hell about you." I said, "Why?" She said, "You've walked right past him and ignored him." I said, "Who is it?" "Zeke Dighton." I said, "Zeke Dighton?" And of course I knew him very well.
Yes.
He used to run Peter Bridge and all
yes.
that. Since then, of course, I mean, we've been mates again, but I hadn't a clue what it was.
I've had some corkers. Because I've been away from the folk scene 25 years really, and I had somebody come up to me and said, "I haven't seen you for ages. You don't remember me, do you?" And he goes like this. And I'm busy writing a song, you know, so don't keep your name to yourself, you know, share it with everyone. Yeah. Remind me, it's not that I don't care. You know, it's just I haven't seen you. You know, you forget the taste of food if you haven't had it for a while.
Well, I tell you what, we used to go, we were very friendly with the Watersons as the Cropper lads. And we used to go to their club at
the Bluebell?
The Bluebell, that's right. We were in there, and there were Rennie, I, and there were just 3 of us there actually. And we were doing Alan Toe. Alan Toe, Jolly Rumbelow. At the stage went, and me and Rennie went down there. Luckily we didn't get injured, you know. And then they put a metal plate on. And I was talking to somebody, a few years ago, but many years after that, I said, "Oh, that metal plate is still there on stage."
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you see, you made your mark.
Yes, that's my left arm mark. Not half, yeah. And then, of course, Rennie then took up with Pat. And then he left, and it all finished at the Cropper lads. But I'm known better for the Cropper lads than anything else, I think.
Funny. When
people are funny, go, "Oh, you used to sing with the Cropper lads,"
Yes.
No, you didn't sing, more did than with Three Score and Ten. Yeah.
Are there any recordings that you made?
Huh?
Are there any recordings of the Cropper lads?
No.
Nothing at all. That's a shame.
I can't find any anywhere. But I've got loads of old stuff there. But I've got a gem of it, one called Great River of Song, and there's about 60 songs on it from some of the Watersons.
Oh, right.
All of their repertoire
is
on it, yeah, well, pretty good one. But funny enough, I don't play much on I suppose eventually if my sight gets worse, I'll have to learn how to play by ear then.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's worse things.
Well, yes, there is, but I don't know whether I can possibly start doing that at my age.
All right.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks, you know.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been absolutely fantastic chatting with you.
Yes,
Thanks ever so much. And great to see you again as well. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll go for some. By the way, there's no such thing as a posh place in Barnsley. I think you knew that actually.
No,
I said
not
to
at all.
myself, I'll say that, but I know very well there isn't one.
No.
There's a pub
No.
up the road that does.
Okay, I'm just remembering just how generous you always were, you know, and so many things.
Well, I suppose I am now. I give stuff away. Like I've loads of books and music, tons of music here. And again, this is. Alone to the banks of the dark rolling Danube, fair Adelaide hied when the battle was o'er. Oh, whither she cried, hast thou wandered, my lover? Or here dost thou welter and bleed on the shore? What voice did I hear? 'Twas my Henry that sighed. All mournful she hastened, nor wandered she far, when bleeding and low on the heath she descried, by the light of the moon, her poor wounded hussar. His bosom that heaved, the last torrent was streaming, and pale was his visage, deep marked with a scar, and dim was that eye, once expressively beaming, that melted in love and that kindled in war. How smit was poor Adelaide's heart at the sight, how bitter she wept o'er that victim of war. Hast thou come, my fond love, this last sorrowful night, to cheer the lone heart of your wounded hussar? Thou shalt live, she replied, heaven's mercy relieving each anguished wound shall forbid me to mourn. Ah, no, the last pangs of my bosom is heaving, no light of the morn shall to Henry return. Thou charmer of life, ever tender and true, our babes of my love that await me afar, his faltering tongue scarce could murmur adieu, when he sunk in his arms and died, the poor wounded hussar.